I am so pumped to introduce Dustin PolyInnovator. I was actually a guest on his podcast. Writer, YouTuber, podcaster, and streamer. Just all things video, right up my alley, buddies.
People who are real estate people often have to be entrepreneurs. Being entrepreneurs mean you have to wear many hats. You're going to be polymathic in order to be successful in the first place. Polymath means someone who has 3 or more areas of expertise and an insatiable curiosity. So you're having a curiosity-driven life, if you will.
How many millions of users are on social media all the time, right? And I have to find somebody that is in that window of being able to buy a house. Statistically is something you only need every 5 to 7 years. I need to be posting way more than I am if I want my brand to be out there.
Imagine if you're doing like an open house and you have 6 couples that come in to look at it. How do you get those more feet in the door? Well, you have to have enough advertising. The creator equation is something I came up with after, making content for a decade. Strategy plus automation times execution equals success.
I got into finance, I got into mortgage, led to real estate, led to content creation, to the TV show host. On paper, a lot of these things don't make a lot of sense, but they all come together very nicely for me. What advice would you give to creators who have that pressure to only talk about one thing?
Don't go in one thing. Niche down is kind of overrated advice.
If you make interesting people will watch it. If it's not interesting, they're not going to watch it. That is the new algorithm.
It's personality.
All right, welcome to another episode of Happy Hour with Hatchman. I'm boring with my water today, but I am so pumped to introduce Mr. Dustin PolyInnovator. I was actually a guest on his podcast, and so now it's coming full circle. This I'm super excited about today, Dustin, because I coach a lot of loan officers and real estate agents who are honestly not great at the social media game, and they always have tons of questions as far as like the right tools to use and cameras and editing things. And I always say that the message is the most important thing. Like, it's really about the phone, getting in front of the camera, getting your message out there. But I know that there are a lot of benefits to having the right equipment and having some tips and tricks when it comes to overall social media, as well as just all the content that you create. So read your quick little bio here. So Dustin, writer, YouTuber, podcaster, and streamer. Just all things video, right up my alley, buddy. So welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you. And it's funny because I changed that bio a little bit with speaker instead of streamer, because I want to do more speaking.
Speaker.
No. I changed it after I gave it to you. So it's one of those things where I wanted to start streaming more, and I'm going to be streaming a lot more. That's the one skill area that I have been lacking. And so I wanted to get more into it. So I put it in my bio to kind of motivate myself. But then I realized I would rather do more keynotes and stage performances and talking about the stuff I know. And so that's why I was like, let me replace the streamer, because you don't have so many like words on there.
Have you gotten a speaking gig yet, or are you still just trying to get into that space?
Sort of. I mean, I've been on 80 podcasts, and I consider that as kind of the stepping stone towards now 81.
You say 80?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Good for you.
Thank you.
You're putting in the reps, that's for sure.
Last month, I hosted a panel, and it was essentially 3 researchers talking about polymathy, and I was the lead on the panel to help them orchestrate the conversation. And then actually today I did a workshop on polymathy and knowledge management and organizing your life. So I did a workshop, which is again another kind of public speaking. And then last week at the conference, there was a moment where there was a meetup, and I work with a company called Opus Clip to chop up your long form, put into short form clips. And as a partner for them, I was kind of representative, and there was no one else at this meetup that I kept telling them, like, hey, we need more people here because it's an AI tools meetup. Like, we should be there. I guess they got busy, so I was the only one there. And someone from the host of the meetup was like, hey, we need someone to like talk about the tool. So can you get up in front of everybody and talk about it? So I did my first in-person impromptu little speech in front of everybody.
Dude, good for you. And that's with Opus Clip, you said? Mm-hmm. That's phenomenal. I'm a huge fan of Opus Clip, just because I found it probably a couple of years, it was a year or 2 ago. I don't even know how long it's been around. I think right after it came out, my editor was the one that turned me onto it. He was using it to, same thing, chop up a lot of our long form content that we were using on YouTube to have ready to go shorts. He was like, I still have to, tweak them a little bit. And that was early on. It wasn't as good as it is now. But now, I especially with these podcasts, for, real estate agents, loan officers, those that are looking to create a lot of content because in a short amount of time, because we are busy, professionals. Is this creating video content is not a full-time gig for a lot of real estate agents and loan officers. So they're always looking for quick ways where they can generate tons of content to put out there. And I found that Opus Clip is just honestly one of the best tools out there. So tell us a little bit more about that, man. Like what are your, especially as a partner, how did you get into that? And
I became their
share all the insider secrets, man.
I became their biggest power user back in the day. Okay. And so I joined around the same time as your editor did. I think I first joined in like May. So literally they started at the tail end of April, beginning of May or something like that for the clipping tool. They technically started before that with a live stream studio, but they decided that the feature that they were building for clipping for that live stream studio was like even more interesting. So they pivoted a little bit, and you got to know when to pivot. And I think it was wise for them to do so because they became like the best repurposing tool on the market. I called them like the king in this space because I tried all the other tools, even tools before Opus Clip came out, and they couldn't do what I needed it to do. When Opus Clip came out, now if I want you on top and me right here and captions in the middle and have it switch between different scenes, it was the first tool that could really do that. Some of the other tools could only do just the vertical and not very good captions, not finding very many good clips. Opus came out, you could do 3 times as many clips, better formatting of the video itself, and it also just had some more features on top of that over the last couple of years, like B-roll and stuff like that. I had like 120 interviews I was sitting on that I wasn't able to repurpose because I just couldn't find the time or tool to do it. Ironically, the tools guy couldn't find the right tool. And so I threw them all in there, and at the time, they started off with just like 5 free videos a day because they didn't have a way to, they didn't want to charge while they're still building out the alpha and beta of it. And so I just made 3 accounts and just tried to do 15 videos a day and was just cranking them out as much as possible. Eventually, they started charging for it. I paid for a full year's worth, which was about 3,600 minutes, and I used that within a week because I still had tons of videos I needed to get through.
You are a massive user of it. Holy cow.
And then I started being active on their Discord. Someone took notice. I became a partner, and I was one of the first 4 or 5 people as a partner. And even though I'm not one of their biggest partners, like audience-wise, I've been around the whole time. I've used pretty much all the features, and they're talking about Opus Search right now, which basically, for a lot of bigger clients, you can ingest your entire channel. Let's say you have all these different real estate videos, something like that. You have like 1,000 of them, and you want to start making clips out of these long-form videos, or let's say house tours or whatever. It'll ingest the entire catalog and then start basically making it searchable for you. Show me the places with all hardwood floors, or show me the videos with me talking in a yellow hat, or something like that. And
really? So you can do that within Opus Clip? Like, because normally what I do is I just drop either the video file or the YouTube link of the long form and then let it chop it up for me. But I guess I didn't even realize it had all those extra features. Like I noticed, that you can start to edit within it, like that you can change a few things. But so you can search you can upload like an entire library to it?
It's more of the enterprise product. So our accounts don't necessarily have that, but I'm sure there's probably people who are big enough or have enough of a use case for it that there might be a way to go about it. But that's something they're working on right now, is the search function and stuff like that. And they also have an AI video generator that's coming out, Agent Opus.
Everyone's getting into the AI, man.
Well, they were, from the beginning, they were an AI tool using ChatGPT to find the clips. Now they have an AI, like machine learning models for their more advanced clipping. So they have the Clip Basic, which is like the ChatGPT based one, which all these tools essentially have. Theirs is a bit more refined, but it's one of those things where it's kind of similar. Then they have the Clip Anything model, which does like a lot more visual and like understanding semantic.
That's what's so cool about the time we live in right now. Like all the AI tools that have been out, especially the ones that have been out for a couple of years, like they're just getting better and better because they listen to the users, right? They listen to the people that are actually using these tools, what we're trying to get out of them, and we're really trying to make them the best possible tools for what we're trying to do, is to just, again, make us more effective. Yeah. That's the coolest thing about the AI world that we live in right now. Like it's not, some people have that fear that it's going to take their jobs away. And to be fair, there's probably some jobs that will get taken from AI, data entry type stuff, things like that a computer could easily take over. But for creative individuals, for professionals, I feel like I have like an army of mini clones of myself, because it just allows me to be so much more productive, to get so much more done, quicker. So like you said, with Opus Clip, I can take an entire podcast that we shot for an hour and chop it up into 45 clips that allow that way I can post a video a day for the next 45 days, right? And that's huge for somebody like me, so I can get back to working on my business and working with my clients. And then the other tools that are coming out, like Gamma.ai is a great one. I teach a weekly class around social media and how to generate leads through social media for real estate agents and loan officers. And that allows me to create quick slide decks, because social media is constantly changing. There's things that are changing every single week. The videos that performed well a year ago are different than the videos that are performing well from last week. And so I have to consistently and constantly change my focus on what's working and what's capturing the audience attention for me to bring in leads, right? Like, our goals are a little bit different. I don't really care how many views I get. I don't care if I lose subscribers. I actually get excited when I lose subscribers, because it means I'm weeding out my audience and I'm finding the right people. And so it's a tough shift for, those types of professionals to fall into that vanity metric of, okay, like this, I lost followers. I didn't get very many views. Like, if you're getting leads from it, it doesn't matter. And so that's a big part of what I teach. And so I'd love to hear kind of your take on that. Like, as someone who creates content for a living, and you have a really cool newsletter, by the way. I was checking out your website. You've got lots of fun tools, and the mindset piece of it I think is really great as well. It's that multi-productivity, and that's really what I think your main focus is. And I could be wrong, but I don't want to steal your thunder. But
I should have remembered Gamma. I actually had to make a slide deck last week. I should have remembered you mentioned that on my show. That I should have used it.
It's a good one.
But I also feel like I should explain that I have multiple different brands that I talk about, one of which being my personal brand, my content creator brand, my gaming brand. Technically speaking, I have a swimming brand, but it's kind of just looped in with my personal brand for the most part.
Right. See, it's Poly. You're doing a little bit of everything. You're just you, and that's what's fun about this, right? I love that.
Multi-productivity is a good term. I should probably make a post about that. I was going to write it down, because the thing is, I talk about knowledge management for polymaths, people who are multifaceted, organizing those lives, and using tools like Notion and Obsidian to organize the phases of your life, your areas of interest, your content production, or maybe self-education endeavors. And that's where I started out. I was talking about how to build your own degree using online resources. That became knowledge management focus. From the beginning, I was talking about being multifaceted. And then I would interview people on my show, my first show, the Polymathy show. And I would find them half the time because they were content creators. So a fourth of our conversation was about content like this. And I was like, I'm really enjoying this. I want to dig more into that. So when I made my second channel, or my second main channel, I guess you could say, about being a content creator. I teach how to be a content creator, but I also interviewed other content creators on the show, like yourself. That's where I had you on.
Right.
And I started making a brand about how to be a modern content creator in this digital era, digital renaissance.
Right. We're very similar in that sense, as far as I've always been pretty good at a lot of little different things. And sometimes they don't always align. And so, because I'm doing a million different things, and I'll just kind of jump from one thing to the next. And so, you're taught at least in like business things to get really good at one thing. But like, to me, I like, once I've mastered it to where I feel like I'm good enough at it, I try to just jump to the next thing. Or if I find something else that's interesting to me, I jump to that. And so it's hard sometimes to find out what is the right thing to focus on for people like that. At least for me, I always try to think about what my main goals are, right? If I'm trying to make money, for example, then I need to focus on the money-making activities. If I'm trying to build my relationships or build my network, then there's other tasks that I can do that will help with that. So ultimately, it comes down to our goals.
Yeah.
And for people that are, what did you say, polymathy?
Polymathy, yeah.
Polymathy. What does that mean, by the way? So
first and foremost, I just wanted to mention that people who are real estate people often have to be entrepreneurs. Being entrepreneurs mean you have to wear many hats. You're going to be polymathic in order to be successful in the first place. Polymath means someone who has 3 or more areas of expertise and an insatiable curiosity. So like you were saying earlier, you find some new rabbit hole you want to go down. That's your curiosity being driven towards your life. Like, you're having a curiosity-driven life, if you will. That's super cool. But I feel like as long as you're driven by that and you're focusing on those things, they end up kind of working. Like, I got into finance, and then got into real estate, or got into mortgage, and then led to real estate, and led to content creation, to the TV show host. Like, on paper, a lot of these things don't make a lot of sense, but they all come together very nicely for me. And I don't really know how to do anything else different, because I just
find a way to make it work. Like you said, that entrepreneurial mindset, we wear different hats. I feel like I'm a therapist half the time talking with some of these clients, it's an emotional thing when people are buying a house because it's expensive. There's a lot of money. It's a big purchase. And so you have to kind of tie all that in, and it does get frustrating to like organize all of that, because as someone who's very actionable, I like to take action. I'm not always great at follow-up. Things like, oh, I was supposed to call this client last week, or I was supposed to check in with this guy. That's why we have the tools that we have available today, because they kind of help reel all that in. So do you have any good like organizational tools that you use to keep you on track with certain tasks?
I do, but before we do, it's the drink time, so pull up your glass.
Yeah, that's right. Do a little cheers.
There
here.
are big ships and there are little ships, and some ships that sail to sea, but there's nothing like friendship, so here's to you and me.
Ooh, cheers, brother. I love that one.
Figured just follow the theme of the show a little bit there. Organizational tools.
I love it, man. Heck yeah. Organizational tools. Yes. What do you got for us?
First and foremost, I started off with Notion. I mean, technically I started off with like Google Sheets and then Airtable, then Notion. But Notion ended up being these Lego-like apparatus you could rebuild and build however you like. And when you're building your own business and trying to connect with different people that work for you, or you need to create a system that's unique to your way of production, then I found that Notion was really great at having that system that could be connected with other people. Multiple people could access it. So if you have a company of people that need to be together, that's one way of going about it. I personally...
So it's collaborative, like if you've got team members or other coworkers, you can all work on the same system?
The same workspace, yeah. I found, as someone who's solo, I didn't need that, but I just figured, given your audience, more likely they might have editors or something.
For sure, yeah. Anything that would be helpful, because a lot of my people do have teams, and they've got several people working for them, and so it's nice to have one workspace because I noticed more and more things are doing that. Like Canva is, you can invite collaborators, but yeah, Notion. So
and then the tool I particularly use, let me see if I can share my screen here, is Obsidian, which what I'm about to show you is more for, it's like a gimmick, but it's just really interesting. Every single dot on this graph is, like, all the green dots are folders and tags, and every white dot is one of my notes in my system.
Wow. Looks like a galaxy.
Yeah, and there's actually a plugin that makes this 3D, which is really trippy, but really hard to process.
I bet.
So I have a system where I organized my content creation here, different channels, different blogs, different newsletters. Like I said earlier, I actually have 5 newsletters, 2 or 3 of which are kind of the main focus, but I have multiple on my site, and even one Substack that I'm working on as well for the content creation brand. But this is how I organize it. And then there's also some really cool stuff. Probably can't share because my calendar shows up. Let me see if I can pull this back out. I can show it to you. So essentially, I have a database of my content plan where on the right side here, you can see the list, and I have it sorted based on priority. So it's like, I want to make this post first, so it's number 1, this is number 2, number 3, and then I have it sorted based on this, and each one of these buttons will lead me to the document that I can work on making that blog post and video.
So this allows you to kind of plan your content for different channels. And how many channels are you posting on currently, or platforms, I guess?
Platforms, I mean, if you count repurposed content, I'm posting pretty much everywhere. We can get into it. Okay. There's another tool I haven't mentioned too called New Link, which is really interesting.
New Link.
But essentially, I have 6 YouTube channels, 2 of which are clips channels, one for each of my shows, one of which is a dead channel because I made it way early on when I got started. So only 3 of them I'm actually like working on. There's the main personal brand, PolyInnovator, the content creation one, the content Polymath, and then my gaming channel. The gaming channel is kind of like secondary right now. I'm not worried about it. But the first 2, like the content creation and my PolyInnovator one, that's the ones I'm actively posting on. Each one of those ends up generating a lot of short form clips that I can post, and then across a myriad of platforms. So before, when I was posting clips from my shows, I would post to Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Pinterest. I chose Pinterest over Facebook Reels, but given the real estate audience, they might choose both. Now that I use New Link, I actually don't have to choose, but for a while there, I had to choose only 4 platforms, and so I chose Pinterest because I got a lot more views and engagement on there, and the engagement as in links to my travel throughs, people might be able to see like, hey, you're posting a really cool picture or video of a house tour on Pinterest where people are very visual heavy. I think that's kind of a good match, and a lot of people might not consider Pinterest. I just wanted to throw that out there. So now,
that's cool.
When I post clips, like from our show, for example, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and now when I'm doing my solo clips, I'm also doing Mastodon, Twitter, Threads, and one other one. I think my LinkedIn personal on top of my page. So I'm sending it out to like 10 or 11 different platforms for all my solo clips.
So that just kind of helps you keep organized that way. And how far out in advance are you scheduling stuff to post, or what does that look like?
So, okay, how do I explain this without being dramatic? On my content creation channel, I'm using Substack because Substack has a really unique automation where if you post a video post, it has video and audio posts. First off, let me start there. Substack is not just a newsletter platform. It's a all-in-one. You can do video, written, and audio all in one. So I make a blog post and I make a video separately. I put the video post on Substack. It automatically sends it to YouTube. It automatically cuts out the audio, makes it into a podcast. And then I take that video and I toss it into Opus Clip to make a whole bunch of clips. P.S. Substack also has clips, so if you don't want to pay for Opus, you can technically get a couple clips from Substack at least. So if you need to keep your cost minimal, there is that. And so I am now scheduled one a week on Substack until basically halfway through December.
Wow. And how long did that take you to, like, so you've got content that's basically being pushed out to all these platforms from now until December. How long did it take you to set that up?
A lot of the automations you only have to set up once, right? But the actual content is what's going to take time, and batching out the content. And depending on how you're recording your real estate content, that could be a difference too. This is educational, so I can just record it here in this office space and call it a day, right? And I'm also not particularly editing my videos as much too. I'm being more raw, so that might be counterintuitive to some people listening in, but some people might be like, "Ooh, he's doing that. I think I like that." So
I think you're onto something right there, though, because there is so much AI right now, and so many things get like over edited, and like I'm sure you've played with Sora, which is a ton of fun. Like you can create ridiculous videos of just whatever you.
Believe it or not, I haven't, because I don't have iOS.
Oh, you haven't done the Sora yet? Oh man, okay. So Sora's a blast. Like I've already made so many videos. It's just kind of fun, right? Like I haven't used any of it for business, but like we're starting to realize what's fake and what's not, but there's some of it is hard to tell. Like it's hard. Like my kids literally got in an argument the other day because my son had this video of a squirrel eating a Taki and then like screaming, which was it was pretty clearly AI, but he swore up and down it was real. And so him and my daughter were literally fighting about it. She's like, "No, that's AI." He's like, "No, it's not." And so like squirrels really do this. And so, we're in that weird space where it's hard to know what's real and what's not. So I think that the raw content, the non-edited, the live, the nitty gritty, where we can't fake it, people almost crave that more now because it shows off that you're real. It takes away that question mark of is this real, or am I watching an avatar, or is this something that AI created? So I think we're going to start to see a shift, and I'm starting to notice that as well. Like with TikTok, TikTok Live is one of the most popular platforms out there right now, and one of the biggest, like, not only for creators but consumers, because it's live, right? We know we're dealing with a real person, and it's not an AI bot or a video that took us a long time to put together and make really clean. So I think that's where the world's headed, man.
I want to also mention that, like I said, the automations are already taken care of. So when I make my raw video, I put it into Opus, so I can just toss those clips into. First off, Opus Clip also has a scheduling built into it, but I prefer my already. Really? Yeah, it has a scheduler built in.
Opus Clip has a scheduler?
And it even has a calendar view and all that. And they're working on a bulk scheduler.
I'm learning stuff too.
Yeah, but I use New Link, which allows me to have automation set up. So I have these different automations. So every time I make a new YouTube video, podcast, or blog post on any of my channels, mind you, I have multiple newsletters, multiple channels, and multiple podcasts. All of them get disseminated through these different automation channels. So I don't have to worry about posting, "Hey, here's a new video." And then on there, I have 12 different variations of the tweet. So when it makes a post, "Hey, here's a new video. Hey, check out this new video that I made." New release on the channel, go check it out. Different variations on it, so that way it's not. And there's actually technically a AI for captions, but I didn't have as great luck with that on New Link. It's better now, but I just wanted to make my own at this point. I figured it's more natural that way. But now I also have. I was mentioning earlier, I had all the way till December, one video a week. I tossed all 11 or 12 of those videos into Opus. I got about 200 clips back, and I posted those out. I scheduled those out 2 a day across Again, like I said, 11 platforms for the next 90 days, 100 days. And so now I have content going out across 11 different platforms, 2 clips a day, for the basically for the rest of the year, if not into January.
And you still get to create, like you're still doing the podcast, you're doing all these fun things, but that's always working for you in the background. And that's kind of one of the biggest things I'm trying to teach these loan officers and real estate agents. It's like once you build the system and then it's built and you just have to feed it. It's like it's like a billboard that's working for you 24/7, but it doesn't cost anything. Like billboards, I've had a billboard before. They're not cheap. They're like $5,000 to set up, and then there's monthly fees on top of it. So, but the cool thing is all of this stuff that you're talking about is free for everybody, for every business owner, not just real estate and mortgage professionals, which is who I work with, but literally any type of business. You're able to set it up once, and it does take some time and effort. And if you don't have that time and effort, you can absolutely pay somebody to do it.
But I'm batching. Just spend a Sunday.
Absolutely. It's totally worth the investment, right? It's putting in a day or two or however long it might take you, and then you just feed it. So it's literally a freaking money printer if you do it right. Like it's such, anyone that is still not on this, like you're talking about managing multiple platforms, multiple channels. Like some people can't even just post to Facebook or Instagram. It's like, dude, it's not that hard once you just establish those habits and you just stick with it, because and the ones that aren't doing it, I think, are just going to go away.
Yeah, just going to fade from existence.
Yeah, the world is shifting, and you've got to shift with it and find what works and what people are going towards. So, dude, really cool. And I, obviously I follow you now on socials. So I saw you recently went to Vid Summit, which is tell us a little bit about what Vid Summit is and your experiences there.
So I just want to mention, though, you mentioned like the $5,000 for a billboard. Newlink costs $18 a month for 7 channels, or if you have multiple channels, you can do like the higher tier plan. But if you pay that for a year ahead, that's a fraction of the cost when it comes to
Netflix is up to like $20 a month now. Like, come on now, like, and that's something that you're consuming. We're talking about that's a business expense, like especially like people in real estate and mortgage. Like $18 a month is nothing to be able to do all of that for you. So, and
I have one more tool to mention before Vid Summit. I was going to mention it earlier because I met them at Vid Summit, so we can get into that. It's called Firecut. Yeah. Firecut is one of the dozen or so automatic video editing platforms, and I mean like long form videos. Ooh. Opus Clip is short form. Firecut and Glean, for example, are for long form. But in my opinion, Firecut has always caught my attention because, first off, Ali Abdaal is partially behind it. He's worked with them, and he's a huge YouTuber, productivity space. And it was interesting because using that tool to cut out the ums and ahs, cut out the pauses, add lower thirds, make the videos have more motion graphics, more effective chapters, all those different kind of things. There's all these features. And if you don't have the ability to do editing, it could definitely get you halfway there, if not more so. And even for me, I don't necessarily want to edit my videos at all, but if I just toss it into Firecut with Premiere or DaVinci Resolve, whatever program you're using, then I can get a way better quality product that looks like I spent a lot of time on it when I really probably didn't. And then I can throw that into Opus.
There's all these time-saving tools that are coming out every day. Like it literally just makes us so much more productive, puts time back in our day so that we can focus on the things that we actually enjoy. Because like you said, editing sucks. Like I hate editing. It is awful. That's why I hired an editor. But now, I mean, again, there's so many great tools. And I don't know that, like, I think we're always going to need some sort of human editor. You could be wrong. I could be wrong here. But in order to make the vision work, like I always have things in my head as far as what I want the end product to look like on video. And I always try to explain that to the best of my ability to my editor. And he always brings it to life better than what I thought, because I feel like he's got a talent for that sort of thing. And so it's that combination of the human element with the AI tools. It's not there to replace someone's job. It's there to enhance it. So I wrote, I think I put it on Threads the other day. I said, AI doesn't stand for artificial intelligence. It stands for amplified individual, because I think that's really what it's for. It's to help us amplify ourselves.
Speaking of which, that leads really well into my creator equation, which I'll tease before doing the Vid Summit talk. But I wanted to also mention too that Opus is working on a co-producer AI, which the way you're prompting your real life editor to make changes to the video and how that person is then editing it. That is how, like, when you're using ChatGPT, you're going to prompt it to change. I want this to be like the thing you gave me needs to be tweaked, right? Well, you can eventually do that with video editing. And I think there's a lot of companies probably doing that in the long run, but Opus is working on it first.
What an exciting time we live in, man. Like, this is so cool.
Great to be a solopreneur too.
I watched the internet be born when I was in high school, man. Like, it was like, I remember the first AOL chat that I did, and it was just literally talking to a buddy across town, and it blew my mind. I was like, we're having a conversation, but we're across town right now. And now it's like, you're in another state and we're just having a video chat. Like, it's no big deal. It's so crazy.
I'm a Yahoo Messenger, baby.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Like, it's just it's wild.
So I've been to 6 conferences in my short span of going to conferences, 2 podcasting, or the same one twice for podcasting, the same one twice for broadcasting, which also has a content creator area. Each one I felt very aligned with people around me because, hey, they're content creators too. I'm finally around other creators, people who understand the challenges that I'm facing. And I even went to like a mini YouTube one too, but that was like a very small event. This was the first event where I felt like I was surrounded completely by peers. Everyone was coming in from around the world, Vid Summit, YouTube conference, and it was one of those things where I met a lot of creators who I looked up to in person, some of which I've actually interviewed at some points or talked to because they're also partners with.
I saw one with Chris Doe, right? That guy's so cool. He's a good dude.
Personal branding expert, and I took a selfie with him on the last night, but he was staying in my same hotel. So literally on the first or second day, I saw him come in. I'm like, hey, I know you're checking in, but I just got to freaking say hi. Come on, dude.
And that's what's fun. Like, we're creating there's little mini celebrities now within this world that we live in. And conferences are a great place to do that because, the virtual is awesome, but nothing beats the power of in person, of being there with an individual, because there's a different energy in the room. Yeah. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, I think that's the one thing COVID taught us is that virtual is great. It's convenient. It works, but to really connect with somebody, to really learn from them, in person is the best of the best, in my opinion.
On the last day, he literally came down when I was sitting with other YouTubers for breakfast, because each day they had like a meetup for breakfast. It was something that one of us came up with and was just like, okay, let's just meet in the breakfast area before we go to the conference. Cool. On the last day, he didn't even know about the meetup. I don't think. He just came down and he sat with us. And for the next 30, 40 minutes, he just shoot the shit with us like we're doing right now and talk to us.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And I got to meet Nick Nimmin too. Nick Nimmin is the YouTuber for YouTubers. If you are a loan officer or a real estate person, you're trying to make content around your business that you're creating, the person you would learn from is more than likely like Roberto Blake or Nick Nimmin or Nate Black, all 3 of which were at this conference. I got to meet them again or for the first time. It's like, oh, it was so
is that the Think Media guy? No,
that's Sean Cannell, which the small YouTuber conference I mentioned earlier, that was Sean Cannell's Grow with Video Live conference, and I did that last year. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, learned a ton from that guy's videos, man.
I did Viral Ranking Academy when I was a first blossoming YouTuber, and that's their big old course. And do you know Pat Flynn?
No, I don't know that one.
So he was big on smart passive income. So that was his main coup de grace or whatever. And he was building out, like, this is back in 2012, mind you, like way early on. Okay. I started blogging in like 2013, and he was someone I was learning from about how to make a blog, how to make a podcast. And he was one of the bigger podcast names out there. And then post-COVID, he actually started doing stuff around Pokemon trading cards. And that's what his new channel was about. And now it hit like 1 million subscribers. He's been doing keynotes about it. Yeah, I'm really mad. I sold my huge collection that I made since I was a kid, 2,000 cards plus, for like rent money in 2018, 2019, prior to the blow up of this. And I had so many rare cards I could have sold for so much more had I just waited a few more years.
Real estate, same thing, man.
Yeah.
Everyone says the same thing. I should have bought last year.
The conference, though, was really great. I got to meet a lot of cool people. There was a lot of after parties. There's the public ones and the VIP ones. I had a sponsor badge, so I might have been able to get into the VIP ones, but I chose to go to the other ones, or I chose to go to meetups and karaoke because of my love of karaoke.
I love it. I know. I saw that on your website.
Well, the thing is, I have a little bit of FOMO, and there was also this sort of romantic tryst at the end of the week too. That kind of, so I left the Vid Summit kind of spiraling a little bit because I was like, oh man, I'm going from all these people who understand now back to my city that I don't necessarily want to be in any longer. I want to be around more people like me, and then also romantic tryst at the end of the week. It's like
finding your people, because again, like I've always felt that pressure that you're supposed to go all in on one topic, but I just have all of these other interests. And so, like, what advice would you give to creators who have that pressure to only talk about one thing and to just be okay with going all out on whatever it is they want to talk about.
Don't go on one thing. Niche down is kind of overrated advice. I will say, if you want to have the search engine optimization, sure, there is that factor. But first off, with AI, now the semantic search is a thing, right? If someone wants to find something particular topic, there's going to be a greater understanding of who you are as a content creator. Oh, they spent a third of their time talking about Polymathy. They spent a third of their time talking about gaming. They spent a third of the time talking about YouTube, whatever. And it's going to understand that. It's going to understand that you're more than one thing. And more importantly than that, it's all interest based. So when you're on TikTok and you are talking about X, Y, and Z, and on the day you're talking about Z, someone finds you for that Z, they may not want to follow you because you're still talking about X and Y, but they probably will follow you. And then eventually you're going to talk about Z again and make them happy. It's okay.
Let's touch on that for a minute, because so many people still think that there's like a special trick to like videos. And to be fair, there are tactics and strategies to get people to watch your videos and to keep them watching. But the fact is, if you make interesting shit, people will watch it. If it's not interesting, they're not going to watch it. That is the new algorithm.
It's personality.
It is. Yeah, it's that simple. And so like I talk to so many loan officers every week that are always like, oh, well, I heard you need to do this and you need to have this keyword and this. I'm like, I don't even think hashtags matter anymore. Like,
Depends on platform.
For searchability, I think.
On YouTube, I would say a little bit.
But like for TikTok and Instagram, do Instagram
CEO literally said in an interview, hashtags don't matter. And in fact,
that's what I thought.
On TikTok, if you post I think on both, if you post on Instagram and TikTok, if you post too many hashtags, it'll actually be detrimental to you.
Right, yeah, it kicks you out, right? Because it thinks you're a bot, or maybe you're using ChatGPT or something, which again, we all use that. But you got to make it in your voice, and you have to just be yourself. Like you can't try to get tripped up on saying the right thing, because again, because we've gone through that stage already. Like a couple of years ago, the videos that worked really well were very specific as far as like you have the 3-second hook, and then you have your topic, and then you keep going. But now some of my best videos are ones where I'm just like shooting the shit, or I'm just like talking for a minute or showing something off. Like it's authenticity is what's winning today. It's real people and showing your real personality and not trying to fit into some other box. Like just be you. And that's honestly why I named this podcast Happy Hour with Hatchman, because when you're at a happy hour, you don't have that camera in front of your face, and so you're not just like trying to say the right thing for the right person. You're just talking with a buddy, having a drink, you're feeling a little bit loose, and some great conversations have come out of a lot of happy hours that I've had. And so that was the idea of my podcast, was like, let's record those convos, because those are the ones that people need to hear, because they're real.
Yeah. And on top of that too, hold on, before we drink, let's do a cheers again. But I wanted to mention, like, you and I had the episode on my show, and we were able to use those clips a lot. You and I were trying to share the attention as much as possible, reposting, sharing, and collaborating. And with this episode, we're going to toss it again and do it once over.
Exactly. We're going to do it again.
There's a cheers by Pitbull that I learned. Life is not a waste of time. Time is not a waste of life. So let's stop wasting time, get wasted, and have the time of our lives. Dale.
Ooh, yes, sir. I love that. Fun fact, I've actually danced up on stage with Pitbull before.
Oh, okay, I see you.
It was at a President's Club event where when I was working for another mortgage company, he was one of it was him and Flo Rida.
Ooh.
It was in Florida at the Fontainebleau Hotel.
I was going to mention Pat Flynn earlier because I have a story that you might like.
Yeah.
So at that Sean Cannell Think Media conference, on the last night, there was a special dinner. Everyone was there. And then I was with some friends, and we went downstairs. Because I've been to Vegas now 3 times, not gambled once. I feel like I should have done it just for the sake of saying I did it. But
I'm not a gambler either.
Me either. But I feel like I just need to do it once for the sake of, like, living a full life.
Bucket list.
And yet I haven't done it. But my friend wanted to gamble. So me and our mutual friend are walking down. I'm having the mutual friend right here. She's like watching. Me and her are both supporting our friend who wants to gamble. Cool. Play money, whatever. Yeah. And then we look over, and Pat Flynn and his buddy is at the roulette table right next door to us, or whatever. We're at the roulette table. I think maybe they're at blackjack, something like that. He's just like a table away. And then we're, hooting and hollering. He's like, oh, cool, we won. He's having mixed luck, 50-50. And then Pat Flynn comes over and starts cheering on my buddy too. So me, her, and Pat Flynn and his buddy are all cheering on our friend to make some big win. And Pat tells him, like, hey, go pick like 38 black or something like that. I don't remember what the number was. And so he's like, okay, cool. Did it, picked it. and he won relatively big, and we're all just like,
No way.
and I hug Pat, and he hugs me, and we're just like, hey, high five. And it was just one of those things where, you know, basically we gambled with Pat Flynn, or had a great time at the gambling table with Pat Flynn, and it's now cemented in my brain. It's like this nice happy memory.
That's so cool. See, it's funny. I posted a clip today that talked about it's more, for me, it's always been more fun to see other people win than to win myself. And like, that was a perfect example, right? Like, it wasn't even your money, but you were so pumped just to be a part of that experience and to watch something like that happen. So that's so cool.
Let's touch on competition a little bit.
Yeah, let's get into that.
So I'm kind of like Gary Vee. I don't really particularly believe in competition. I just rather build the biggest tower. I know I'm putting out more content than most people, and so I know that in the long run, I'm going to win when it comes to the niches that I want to do. But there's no sense in the fact that, like, I can't help you win, or I can't help my peer win.
Yes.
There's someone my main show, the Polymath Polycast, the one I've had for 7 seasons now, I've interviewed over 100 different people who are polymathic, people who've done the research in polymathy, one of which I've talked to multiple times, Dr. Angela Myers, and she has a YouTube channel that's all about polymathy. She has an interview show that's very similar to mine, and from the very beginning, I never really particularly saw her as a competitor, despite the fact she literally has, like, you know, a carbon copy of what I was doing, like interviewing polymaths. Sure. And instead, we've just decided to collaborate. Like, we don't see each other as competition. It's not like having two coffee shops in the same block. It's going to make it worse for one or the other. In fact, now that becomes the coffee block, so people come there for coffee and both stores win.
Exactly, right? Thank you. Like, that's part of that win-win mentality, man. Like, that is how I try to live my life. I truly believe that there's always a win-win scenario for everybody involved. So, like, competition, like, I am a pretty competitive individual, because let's face it, we do like to win, and I think there are outlets for that. You know, sports in particular, that's always fun. Driving, I feel like no matter where I'm driving, I'm in competition with everyone else around me. I drive fast. If anyone's going to pass me, I'm going to pass them. Like, that's just, I'm just instinctively like that. You know, just like, all right, no, I'm going faster than you, fool. My car's faster, so I'm going to go faster. So, but when it comes to, like, other business owners, right? Like, because how many real estate agents are there? How many loan officers are there? Like, and I don't care what company you work for, what brokerage you're at. Like, same thing. I teach everything that works for me, because I don't pretend to know what I'm doing. I have figured a few things out along the way that work for me. And like you said, I will outwork most people at the end of the day. I know I put out more videos than the typical loan officer or the typical real estate agent. And that's why my stuff gets seen more. And so when I start to teach it, I know I'm overwhelming people when I explain my process, right? Like, because your process was extremely overwhelming to me, like, and I put out a pretty decent amount of content, but I was like, all right, but you also explained it in a way where I was like, you know, I could do that, like, because it's with using the tools. That's where we get tripped up, is we think that we have to do all of it, and we do, but that we have all these extra tools. And so for me, competition has always just been me against me. I'd like to use the word potential, right? Like, what is my potential and what can I do?
I shared a link with you just now. You can put it in the description for my Substack. And I also shared the affiliate links to the tools I mentioned too, in case you want to use that, just in case you don't have your own affiliate links. But my point is, Substack is interesting because I went on there for my content creator brand, and I've been talking about this idea that I got from Gary Vee. You mentioned earlier how you put a crap ton of content out, and I've seen it and I've interacted with it because I'm like, it's on my feed again. I might as well like share it or repost it or whatever. Like,
it's out there.
It's out there.
Love me or hate me, I got a lot of it.
When I had all my interviews, I put it all into Opus. I had thousands of clips. I literally have 2,500 clips, now closer to 3,500 when it comes to the first show, let alone the second show. And I'm like, how do I get all these clips out? Well, I found the tool to do it eventually, finally, right? But even with the right tool, what is the cadence? Well, I was putting out 9 to 10 a day for many months straight, and so, or basically a year. So my creator channel, the one that's linked to the Substack that I shared, it is only about a year and a half old. It only has 200 subscribers. That's not very much in the vanity metric sense. It got 200,000 views last year.
Whoa, okay.
And so it's because
people are seeing it.
People are seeing it.
Because you're putting a lot out there.
And I also wanted to mention, too, that on the Substack, I've talked about Gary Vee's philosophy that you should be putting out 100 pieces of content a day.
Yeah. that number, like,
you and I bonded over that.
You found my video because I heard him say 6 a day, and I was like, hey, you know, that's doable. But dude, if he had told me 100 a day, that he probably knew his audience, right? Like, most loan officers and real estate agents weren't. I was doing 1 a week at the time, and then he said 6 a day, and I was like, I can crank it to six a day.
I think the 6 a day must have been like on a certain platform. 100 is across all platforms.
Because I think it's, well, yeah, and you look at people like, you know, Alex Hermosi, and, you know, they're putting out thousands.
450 a week is what Alex said, yeah.
That's, see, and that's
more
it,
now, to be honest.
Because he explained it in a pretty easy way, at least for my mathematical mind. It's like that's just more opportunities to be seen. If the more people, because there are how many millions of users are on social media all the time, right? And I have to find somebody that is in that window of needing to being able to buy a house, or need financing, or, you know, needing the service that I'm talking about, which statistically is something you only need every 5 to 7 years. So I need to be posting way more than I am if I want my brand to be out there. And so that's just the way I think of it. That's more opportunity.
But imagine if you're doing like an open house and you have 6 couples that come in to look at it, or 12,
right,
or 30. How do you get those more feet in the door? Well, you have to have enough advertising. Are you going to do a billboard? No, because not many people are going to see that. People have to pass it to see it. Are you going to do more content? Like, let's say you do a video tour, it's 20 minutes long on YouTube of this house. You chop that up into a dozen clips, 10 clips. And now that's 10 opportunities for someone who's on Instagram or TikTok or Reels, Facebook Reels, or YouTube to see that clip, let alone like maybe 10 clips if they see all of it. But more than likely, they're barely going to even see one. But now they might be interested in actually go see that open house because they saw that clip. And
the platforms are getting smarter and rewarding the things that people are liking, right? So like sharing it, saving it. So if there's a video that resonates with someone, or like you said, there's an open house coming up this week, and I know that my friend or my coworker is interested in buying a house, I can send it straight to them, and the system's like, ooh, that means people like this. So they're going to keep pushing it out to more people, which just gives you more opportunities to be seen, more opportunities to sell your product or whatever it might be. So again, the more you post, the more chances you're going to get your stuff sold.
And I don't mind touching a little bit on batching a little bit, because I talked about how I batched out all those videos from my creator channel. Cool.
Yes.
Half of those were part of the same mini series that I did. Okay, cool. The other half were all like random ones that I came up with, and if I come up with a new idea, I should also mention, like, when YouTube came out with a new feature, they actually had like 30 new features they're talking about, one of which was particular to what I was talking about on my channel. So I made a whole separate post dedicated to that one feature. I just posted that on top of the one that was scheduled that week. So now I'm posting twice that week for YouTube, but it's also 2 blog posts, it's also 2 podcasts, and then I also repurpose it into clips too. But I'm also, every year or so, I try to think about what kind of content I want to put on the written platforms. Twitter, Threads, Mastodon, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, Facebook. Threads it actually surpassed Twitter and users. And Threads has been it's also a lot better than Twitter in a lot of ways. Substack Notes.
I agree.
It's also really great.
No, I'm really digging Threads. Yeah. Like, it's, I didn't think I was going to like it because I didn't understand it. I've always been the video guy, but like, once you start to interact with it, there's topics. Like, I've met a lot of people through Threads, which have turned me on to, you know, networking events, or different like places to take my kids like out for dinner or activities. Like, it's a pretty cool little community. So I'm actually a huge fan of Threads, and a big believer that, especially real estate agents who are typically working in the community and like trying to, you know, grow it or share certain places, like that's a great place to do that in. Not just Facebook and Instagram anymore, but Threads, man.
Hello.
Oh, my daughter's here. Oh, you're stealing one of my tools.
Back to batching though. Last year, around this time of year, probably like September, October, I did this really cool endeavor where I made 370 written posts to schedule out ahead of time. So it's basically a whole year's worth. Again, we talked about earlier, like, I'm pretty extreme.
We talked on the last podcast.
I'm pretty extreme with it, but I had a lot of ideas and I have a lot of channels, and so I basically just kind of, all my written socials are aggregates of my multiple channels. So cool, not a big deal. But I've ran out. Like a month ago, I ran out of posts. Right. So what do I do now? Well, I used AI about half a year ago, maybe 9 months ago, to come up with like 30 or 40 ideas. These are not tweets themselves. They're prompts for me to come up with new tweets. But I also have like a whole bunch of ideas myself. It's about 120. And then I realized with all those 10 videos that I then repurposed into 200 clips, I have those clips on my computer. I'm probably going to use Riverside Transcription or some sort of transcription tool to change those clips that I've already made into tweets. And then I have 120 prompts that I'm going to turn into tweets. I'm working through them this week. And then I'm also going to turn those same prompts into short form videos that I'm just going to record raw. And so I'm going to literally take 120 written posts, turn them into clips, take 200 clips or whatever it is, turn them into posts. And now I'm going to have enough for the next year.
It out.
Yes.
See, but and that's the other thing. Like these tools allow us to take action quicker, right? I get so sick and tired of people that like talk about an idea that they're having or that they're gonna do. I'm like, then do it. Why haven't you done it? Like, you have the tools. Like, I'm that same way. I was actually up till 3:30 in the morning last night because I had an idea for a whole string of videos, and I was like, I got to get this out of my head now, otherwise when I wake up in the morning, I'm gonna forget.
Yeah.
So I just came down here and I got on with my Chat GPT, my Gemini, and I just started knocking them all out. Like, just and now I have all of the scripts ready to go. So tomorrow, which is my dedicated day for creating content, I don't have to plan anything because it's already done. Now I just have to execute on it. And that's what it is. It helps you execute it. It gives you the tools to just get to work right away. Because even though that does sound crazy, like scheduling an entire year's worth of posts out, it's done. Yeah. Like you probably spent a few hours doing that, maybe days. I don't really know.
It's going to take about 1 to 2 weeks, but yes.
1 to 2 weeks.
That's procrastinating.
1 to 2 weeks of time for a year's worth of stuff that's out there working for you, that is putting your name out there, putting your brand. And I think that's the biggest misconception is people think they set this up once and then they can just sit back and play video games all day or
this is just a base layer. This is just a base layer. Everything goes on top of, like, I'm going to build more stuff on top of that.
It's the billboards, right? It's all those little things that so many like the old school marketing, right? Like, how have you ever called somebody that's on your grocery cart, like those little ads that are on the grocery cart? I never have. Like, but you see them, right? And you remember them. Like, I see the name every week when I go shopping at Safeway. It's Melanie Nimitz. I know she's the real estate agent in our community because she's there, and that stuff does work, but you can do that digitally at the same time. Like, and it doesn't cost anything, because I know for a fact those ads cost a decent amount of money. So it's just it blows my mind why more people are not all in on this.
Think of it this way too. Gary Vee talked about contextual ads, and so let's say you're trying to run for president or something like that. You can make a specific ad for every state, catering towards the nuances of that state, and all you're doing is recording a separate video. You're making 50 videos. That sounds like a lot, but that's better than putting the same crappy ad across 50 different states and not getting like 20% of the results. If you make specific ads like, hey Missouri, hey Utah, hey Florida, like, right, yeah.
Well, yeah, because with the ads, I know, and I've actually never ran an ad. I'm still working 100% organic, just because it's what works for me, and it's almost like a challenge to myself at this point to see like how far I can take it organically. Because I always think of what Gary Vee said. He's like, if you have a bad video and you throw money behind it, you might as well just throw your money away, because like, you know, no one's watching it anyway. You're just forcing more people to see your bad video. Like, it doesn't do you any good. So what you want to do is you want to test the organic ones, and then if you do have one that takes off and people resonate with, that you can throw money behind, because then that is a smart investment. If people are already liking and enjoying it and connecting with it and booking appointments or, you know, doing whatever you want them to do, that's good. And then you want to throw money behind that, and then you can get strategic, right? That's what you're talking about. You can say, okay, well, I only want to talk to single dads between the ages of 45 and 50 who are in San Antonio, Texas, in this neighborhood. Like, you can get that specific and have those people see it. Or like for like an open house, right? Like, I've got an open house this weekend on these streets. If you're this this is who this is for, and you can just push it out to all of those people. So you can get even more strategic with the ads. So eventually, I'd like to play in that space, but I haven't done it quite yet. So
this leads quite well into my creator equation. The creator equation is something I came up with after, you know, making content for a a decade. And being the PolyInnovator, being someone who likes to innovate different things, I wanted to innovate how we approach content creation. And so I came up with this because, you know, there were some points where I had the right strategy, but I didn't have the ability or skill, more importantly skill, to execute at the level that I needed to do. There was also a few different points, not just once or twice, but like 3 different points where I didn't have the right tools. Automation, I mentioned earlier, I had 120 interviews that I couldn't repurpose until I had Opus, right? And so there was automation aspect, execution, automation, strategy. So my creator equation that I came up with was strategy plus automation times execution equals success. And when you have all 3, it allows you to accelerate your growth regardless of what niche, what topic, what kind of content you are making, right? This goes for videos, audio, and written content. I like to do all 3. I suggest doing all 3. But regardless, you have to have the right strategy. It changes. When platforms change, you have to change your strategy. When you want to make...
You need a shift.
You need a shift. Yeah. If you want to make different types of content, your strategy needs to change. Your automation tools are going to be contextual to the type of content you're making. Like video content is going to go into Opus, but maybe you want to make written content, you might use Gamma to make it into a slide deck. At one point, SlideShare was a big thing. Gary Vee was talking about it. So when I was making my strategy, I was trying to do a blog post. I would turn that into a slide deck. I would use that slide deck as visuals as I talked over it for a video. Then I would cut out the audio and make it into a podcast. That was the strategy. That's what I'm actually kind of doing with my Substack now without the slide deck portion. But with Gamma, maybe I'll make a slide deck anyways just to make it a little bit more interactive. You never know.
I think you'll enjoy it, man. Like I said, I'm just shocked at how fast it is. Like that was my biggest thing. It just, you know, I would take 2 hours doing Canva, putting that together for a 1-hour presentation. Like, okay, that like logically that doesn't make sense. Why am I spending 2 hours of my time to only have an hour-long thing? So now it's 5-10 minutes.
But I would also spend like 30 minutes trying to market all these episodes. If I'm making a blog post, podcast, and a video for every episode, that's 3 pillar pieces of content that I now have to market across social media. That's 5 different platforms, 3 different types of posts. That's 15 posts I have to make manually, right? With New Link, I know how I'm going to have to do it manually. It's automated. With Opus Clip, I can now make clips automatically. With Gamma, I can make a slide deck automatically. And then there's the execution factor. So you already make a ton of content. You have a high execution. You talk about how I make a lot of content. I have a high execution. It's more about sitting down. Like I probably could get this, you know, that tweet list I mentioned earlier, the 300 posts I want to make or whatever for the next year. If I just sat down for 3 or 5 hours, I could probably get it done. But I'm spreading it out over like 1 week or 1.5 weeks. But my point is, you know, I have that automation, then it's an execution factor. I'm still getting it done.
You're executing on it. You're not having that excuse of, I don't have enough time in the day, or, you know, we all have the same hours. Like you look at these really successful individuals, and it's because they are organized, they're executing, they're not afraid to fuck up and to fail. Like that's I think is the biggest one, is so many people are afraid of what they sound like on camera, what they look like, and it's like, who cares? I've
had automation tools fail on me, which made me fail as a creator in a lot of like really crazy ways, but as a whole other story for another day.
I've lost entire podcast episodes where we did them in person live, and then the audio didn't work or the video didn't come through, and it was a waste. You know, still got a good conversation out of it, but the whole point was to put content out there, and it just didn't happen. So yeah, you're gonna make mistakes. And you're gonna find out, especially when you make a big one like that, where you spend an hour and then the audio fucks up. We never made that mistake again, because we double checked it every time after that to make sure it would work.
Well, and you could also have a secondary recording device too, right? And so
my mistakes have taught me way more than anything I've ever done in life, and that's it. You just cannot be afraid to make those mistakes.
We're using Riverside right now, and like I said, I have a love-hate relationship with Riverside, but one thing I'll give Riverside credit for, the other tools don't have for some reason, is they have a cloud backup. If our local recordings mess up, which I've had happen to me a couple of different times, like at least one side.
StreamYard's done it to me.
And so you lose basically the whole call because you can't just use one side. I had a call on Wave Room, which was a new tool. Don't recommend it. I lost half the recording. I lost basically the guest side. For some reason, even though my side is the one that messed up, it was his side that we lost. And so I did, at least I was able to toss my side into Opus and get some clips out of it. But for the most part, that was a whole wasted conversation. Luckily, he was nice enough to come back on and re-record. But Riverside has a cloud backup, so if you at the very least, you could have a crappy version of a good conversation.
All right, well, I've got just, I think, one little wrap-up question here, and then we'll finish this up, and I can get this edited for you. But what is your long-term vision for PolyInnovator? Is it a brand, a movement, or something else entirely?
I wanted to, first off, there's multiple different visions for multiple different brands, right? But PolyInnovator's main thing was I wanted to just tell you that it's okay to be polymathic. It's okay to be a jack of all trades, many different areas. The full quote, jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. Most people don't even know that full quote. And so I try to make sure people know about it. But
yes,
it's okay to be multiple boxes. It's okay to be multifaceted, multi-passionate. And that is what I love seeing when people come on to Polycast and they get exposed for having multiple different interests, and they can be seen for the first time as someone who's more than one thing, that light in their eyes, the excitement of being fully seen, not just partially seen. And then as a content creator, I want to be able to pull from many different areas. And so as a modern content creator, I teach that on that channel, but I also interview creators of all different kinds, right? I found you through TikTok, but you're a YouTuber and documentary and, all these different kind of things that you're doing. You're more than just one type. And I want to be able to highlight the things that you're doing, the lessons you learn can then help a Twitch streamer or a gaming creator or a podcaster, and being able to pull from many different content types. So that's kind of where I was leaning towards on that regard.
I'm going to get all your information up on here once we get this done, but definitely, you mentioned you have multiple newsletters. Who are your newsletters for?
So on my main website, PolyInnovator.space, PolyInnovator is my name on any platform. If you just search that, you'll find me. But PolyInnovator.space, I have one about knowledge management. I have one about gaming. I have one about being a polymath, which is probably my most popular one. I have about swimming, and then I also have one that's kind of dead on there we don't have to worry about. But on the Substack, the content polymath, it's polyinnovator.substack.com. That is about how to be a content creator. You can learn the skills. If you need to have a way to showcase your different real estate market that you're doing in your area, something like that, you want to learn the skills of actually content production for your brand, that's where I would go for that.
Very cool. Well, Dustin, always a pleasure chatting with you, man. I love nerding out with you. Same. And just, again, I could talk about this stuff all day, but I really do appreciate your time and your energy and your knowledge, especially with me. And hopefully this, again, I do this, so hopefully it will be able to help other people make it a little bit easier, a little bit less, what's the word? Less chaotic, less overwhelming. Because look, Dustin's putting out just a shit ton of content. You can handle a video a day. You can do more than what you're doing, and it is going to help you and your business, and it's just going to help you share more of who you are. That's the other thing I try to share is that there's a lot of really good real estate agents and loan officers out there that are working in their community, putting in the work. They're the ones that are sponsoring the kids' T-ball stuff. Like they're really good people, but they're unknown because they're afraid to put their face out there. Yeah. They're afraid to make videos and afraid to make content. So I'll just wrap it up with, don't be afraid. You got one final toast for us? You've been good with these toasts.
This one I made up myself one day. Some days are wasted, sometimes the lads are wasted, and sometimes toasts are copy and pasted.
Boom.